name of this session is Building the Revenue Strategies Around Artificial Intelligence. Well, the broad spectrum of artificial intelligence needs to be carefully treaded by publishers for the effective and maximum utilization of technology, without compromising the sanctity of creativity and authenticity. This session will explore the tools at the publisher's disposal and offers them a perspective into the narrative of publishing using AI. Our first speaker, our panelist for this session, Mr. Karthik Sharma, who's the co-founder at Decode AI, Agnito AI, Scoobies AI. Our next panelist, we have with us Mr. Ajay Sethia, founder and CEO of Invincible Ocean. Our final panelist for this session, we have with us Mr. Senthil Nathan, founder and CEO at ELISA. And now, without further ado, I would be handing over this session to our moderator, Mr. Rachit Srivastava.
First of all, I would like to thank the Federation of Indian Publishers and for inviting me to this conference, and also giving me the opportunity to be a part of this panel of high intellectuals, I would say. I mean, I had the opportunity to, I would say, stalk their profiles, but I've also had an opportunity to speak with them. And just a brief introduction about the panelists. We have, starting from Mr. Senthil Nathan. He is the founder and the CEO of ELISA. I'm sorry, sir, if you can correct me if it's wrong. ELISA, which is a multilingual platform, very, very relevant for today's discussion, because it is a focus platform for publishers which leverages AI, and it has multiple capabilities which can help publishers to grow forward in the industry. And then we have Mr. Ajay Sethia, and he is a fellow publisher, as I interacted with him. So fortunate to have him, because he is a person who has transitioned from a publisher to a technology field, so he can provide us with even more in-depth insight as to what it takes really to go the entire 9 yards from a publication space now into the technology space, and how do you bridge the gap there. And then, of course, we have Mr. Karthik Sharma, is a man of multiple hats. He's a part of Atal Innovation Mission. And then he's under the Mufatlal Group. He's done, he's also founded multiple AI tools. And, the list is large, I think. I'll leave it at that. But to just start off this conversation today on AI, and just to give some numbers, right, to set the context. I recently went through a report that has been published by NASSCOM in 2024. And in terms of numbers, the AI industry in India is poised to grow at a 33% CAGR. And what that means is that by 2027, the total addressable market for artificial intelligence is poised to grow at $22 billion. And this is Indian numbers. So the question today really is, all of us as publishers sitting today, we have, and I had the opportunity to see the last panel also, and fortunately to see the different viewpoints. But a very interesting kind of viewpoint which was emerging was that, what is the thought process on adoption of AI to move forward. And we had the fortune of, just before this, listening to Professor Dr. Unnat P. Pandit, who has also touched upon the fact of copyright for publishers. So the question really is the digital divide, right? There is copyright ownership, and then there is AI. So I would like to start with, Ajayji, and ask him what is his views on, first, if he can explain to us what he thinks is artificial intelligence.
Thank you, Rachit. So, everybody consider AI to be a big term, but in a simplest form, AI is the science where we train machines so that they can think like humans. And AI is not a new thing, so it's been there in our houses. So even a washing machine or a clock is a part of artificial intelligence. And there are different stages of AI. The current stage of AI is the second stage, which is called narrow AI. The first stage was rule-based AI, which was like washing machines, clock, and even ovens. They are part of rule-based AI, where basic if and else conditions are there. Second stage is the current stage where we have ChatGPT, Amazon sponsored ads, Google ads. So they keep changing the ads depending upon your history, depending upon your browsing data. So this is the second stage. The third stage would be artificial general intelligence, where we would be training AI models with data, and these AI models would be able to train themselves with the historical data. So if we consider, so this is the third stage, AGI, which has to come after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Next stage would be ASI, artificial superintelligence, where you would see the conscious machines. So the only difference between us as a biological machine, we are all biological machines, and a mechanical machine, which is like robots, is the consciousness. So you can see in future, after 100 years or 200 years or 500 years, you would see ASI machines, where machines would be more conscious. So if we understand, we need to train AI models with data, and which industry owns the maximum data, the content. It's us, the publishing sector. So if we organize, if we make it more organized, this data, to train AI models, and when I say we need to organize the AI data, it means the correct data. So if we are feeding some data to AI models, then we would be able to get the good output. So as a publisher or like maybe FIP can do that, if we can break the complete data available with the publishing sector and we make it segregate with sector-wise data, and then we start doing the training the AI models, I think we would be able to generate a good amount of revenue. This is just the one part. I'll come to the next stages of publishing where AI can be very helpful to generate revenues.
Yeah, so thanks for that. And to just jump into that, right? Senthil, you've had your own platform. And Ajay has rightly put it that, the publishing industry today is the industry which is actually sitting with the maximum amount of data. So would love to hear your views, because what is that kind of data that, is coming to you? How is the platform benefiting the publishers? If you can just throw some light on how much has it reduced the effort of publishers? And I would say that an important part of it is also if you can explain that how much, is it actually going to replace publishers? Because that's not how I see it, but I would love to hear your views on that.
Thanks, Rachit. First, I thanks Federation and its leaders, particularly my friend Pranav Gupta, for this opportunity. This is the fourth year for us in ILSA, which is a generative AI company, now specially focusing on publishing industry. When it comes to artificial intelligence, our friend Ajay has given a wonderful introduction to it. Today in the publishing world, there are two different approaches towards AI. One is related to the copyright and the ethical part of it. As an AI company, I also am a publisher in Tamil. I am the international coordinator of Chennai International Book Fair. So I know the views of both industries, publishing as well as AI. I completely agree with that. The copyright part of it or the ethical part of it, the responsible AI is very, very important. At the outset, I would like to emphasize that need. The second point is about the technology and adoption of the technology by the publishers or the entire stakeholders in the book publishing industry. Data is part of it. What kind of data strategy we have to follow? That is only a part of it. When something is happening technologically, we have to first understand what kind of or what type of change it is bringing us to us. Artificial intelligence is not a simple thing. It is a paradigm shift. It's one of the foundational change, not only for publishing, for all the industries. If any technology changes the entire economics, not only publishing, all the industries, all the sections of the society, that's paradigm shift, that's revolutionary. So computing is one such of things. Telegraphs or telecom revolution is one such of things. So how artificial intelligence should be viewed from the publishing point of view, and particularly to take this subject, building the revenue strategies around artificial intelligence, we have to be a little bit careful about evaluating the options. What artificial intelligence does? It takes the data, basically it takes the data and takes some output out of it. When doing so, it is using a kind of methods, a kind of things that the human brain will normally use. So this is data plus algorithms, that's function the way it does. But what kind of method it is using? It is trying to mimic the way our brain works. That's the change AI brought into the technology. So the data plus the way it does is the most important thing. So when doing so, it did lot of changes. I used to call it as the fall of walls theory. In many speeches, I used to quote this. Many walls that existed are now getting demolished. Thanks to artificial intelligence, the walls between languages are now coming down. It's a matter of second, even the millisecond, that whatever I am speaking in English, you can easily hear in your mother tongue with the use of artificial intelligence. The walls between the languages is coming down. The walls between the modes of communication is coming down. So the text, images, audio, video, or even the augmented reality in the future. So you can simply now enter a text and get a audio output or a video output or a image output for that matter easily, text to image, text to audio, text to so many things. So the differences between the modes of communication is coming down. The differences between so many other things are coming down. I'm not going to take a class on this. The reason why I am saying is that when you think about the possibilities of using AI, you must use the core principles of AI in your practice, in your business practice. I will give some 5 simple methods. Most of the publishing companies today working with AI. Number 1, content multipurposing. You take a content in one format or one way, then multi-purpose it, repurpose it in different languages or different modes of communication or different versions for the different reader segment. Say a simple text on physics, for example, can be rendered in so many ways. For the school children, for the college people, college students, for the commoners, in audio mode or in ebook or in different types of book or in a video, all through using AI. Content multipurposing is nothing but using AI for most of the things we are doing in different ways. That is the single most important change. Whenever you create a content, think about infinite possibilities of the content to be repurposed. You are saving a lot of money. You are getting a lot of money. The second most important use of AI today is for audiobooks. In another 5 years, most of the people will be using audiobooks as the primary means of, particularly for the non-fiction books. This is not a study, but we are getting this information from different people. So AI narration, this is not simple old technology. The new concept of AI narration can help you to ask the system, maybe the mobile phone, maybe the audiobook, to read out a text in the voice you choose, not the voice the publisher published. It can be the voice of the author, or it can be a voice of a AI narration technology, or you can choose your own voice. Maybe you select one from hundreds of voices available. So audiobooks, the AI voice is second major important revenue generator for book publisher. The third important change is happening in languages, translation. The days of Google Translate has gone. Now we are into adaptive AI translation, which takes your inputs, your choice of words, your style, the particular translator style, or your company's style book. Everything can be incorporated in the translation process. So now the output is much, much better and to your particular style. This is called adaptive AI or adaptive AI translation. So this is going to be a game changer when it comes to translating books. It can be a print book or audio book or whatever. Then we come another very interesting concept called chat books or chatting with the book. Today everything has become a knowledge base, everything has become a chatbot. Let's say our leader, Mittalji is here, is very much, is expert in libraries, for example. For some 30, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, I don't know. So he accumulated lot of knowledge about the library. It's not possible everybody to come and talk to Mittalji about the libraries. Let us assume he wrote some books or he has some knowledge base, some documents and everything with him. So you can create a chatbot out of it. Every author or every genre or every multiple books of a particular author or your entire catalog can be converted into chattable format and readers can chat with the books. It's called chat books. Like they read the book. Once they read the book, okay, this is a textbook. I have to read it again and again and again. But it will be so easy if you ask some questions, it is responding to me. So the chatification of the books is going to be a very big revenue generator. So like you have the print book, then you have the e-books, then you have the audio books. The fourth format will be chat books. And very interestingly, the book can be in any language. I can chat with the book in any language. The book can be in text, but I can chat in voice. That's why please understand the concept of fall of walls. It can be anything. So I can take a Spanish book, but I can ask questions in Tamil, get the answers in Tamil. It's quite possible. We have this in ILSA, this feature, and many AI companies are working on this. Then finally, this is going to be a very big change. The publisher's role in publishing is not going to melt away because of AI. No. You will be still the guardian of the publishing industry. But the way you deal with the authors is very, very important. Because in future, all authors, just like I said the example of Mittalji, all authors can store all the information in a separate database or something, a knowledge base, that will become the digital twin of the author. He may be expert in particular subject, he may be a textbook writer, he may be a travel writer, or he may be even a children books writer, anything, he or she. So the author will become the source of a particular thing, so he will create his own digital twin. That digital twin should be managed only by the publisher, because authors are not going to manage everything on their own. You are already doing it in a physical manner, now you are going to do it in the digital manner. If you take all the 5 things that I am saying now, there are another 5 things I don't have time to say everything. These things are revenue generating. If you are using AI is for just increasing the productivity or doing something faster, that is only a small part of AI. When we think about AI, we must think about what is the new possibilities of AI. So these are few examples. I think gentlemen can come up another few examples. I just noted some few examples for you. So think AI as an enabler, not the competitor, enabler of publishing industry, and collectively to come to your question and then I stop it. Data. For example, we have big problem in translation from English to Indian languages. Why? Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all these companies have their translation tools, but they are not up to the mark. The reason is, the translation technology should coming from India, and you have to provide your data to make it much, much better. The government, publishing industry, media industry, education, everybody should come together and create a huge database. Thankfully, the project like Bashini is now doing it in much better way. But unless you provide your data to train AI, you cannot take the better output. Simply blaming the companies that the output is not good is not going to help us. And this kind of data aggregation should be done in legal, ethical, and responsible way is very important. So if Indian people, the people who speak some hundreds of languages in India, at least take the top 10 languages like Hindi, Bengali, Tamil, Gujarati, and all. So if you want real revolution in Indian languages publishing, you need much better machine translation systems or the AI translation systems. That will never happen unless you join together or we join together and create huge data sets based on the high quality translation. If that is not happening, we will be having 70%, 80%. It's not going to help us. Because the only way to win the AI game is creating our own knowledge resources. That resource is already lying with you. Nobody has this kind of resource. Nobody. Not the universities, not even the media companies like newspapers. Only the book publishing companies have this. That's why we have this big problem in US and other countries. OpenAI or other big companies, without the consent of original copyright owners, they have taken the content. That's the problem. But here, with the consent of the publishing companies, authors, most importantly translators, we have to create a mechanism so that the output will be much, much better. Thank you for this first round. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Senthil. That was very, I'm sure a lot of giveaways there in terms of what are the different kinds of use cases specifically which can help the publishing industry generate revenue. But I'll come to Karthik now, and Karthik, you're an evangelist, and I think that is very important to understand where the money is moving in terms of AI. And on top of that, of course, you're also a thought leader on AI. So can you share with us, I mean, in terms of, just bridging what Senthil said, these use cases, what you are seeing in the industry, what are the kind of what are the kind of projects that you're coming to you? What are some of the funding projects you're interested to fund, from a evangelist perspective, so that the publishers can understand that this is the kind of AI I adopt so that I get the right kind of funding. And, your thoughts generally around the adoption of AI would be super helpful. Yeah.
Sure, and interesting you mentioned funding. I think because I'm also an author and I've seen publishing industry inside and also outside. And I think it's a very interesting industry because everybody in the ecosystem feels that publishers are making money, but when you ask the publishers, they say that we are not. So, which is not the case in many other industries, right? Because author thinks publisher is making money, schools think publishers are making money, but when you ask them in person, they have a different view. So I think AI is kind of I would say a savior to most of the publishers because, and I look at it in two ways. One is B2C publishing, where you creating content and books which are consumed by people like us. And then the other is B2B, wherein you're working with institutions, whether it's schools, colleges. So there is a second round of opportunities in that. If I talk about B2C, I think some of the interesting things which I have seen is, one is wherein you can also make users. So this is something which we can take from other industries. Like in other industries, what's happening is you're making your consumer or customer also a co-creator and a producer of sorts. So let's say in music industry or entertainment industry, what's happening is even before the song or movie is launched, the creators are now issuing tokens or NFTs. So you can actually, let's say, and I have done that, bought tokens of a song, and I get a percentage of royalty each time that song is streamed on any channel across the world. So think of it like that in publishing context. If could we also issue tokens of books, and then as a student, teacher, or anybody in the ecosystem, whether it's a B2C book as well, you are also part owner of that book. That also solves the issue of opaqueness, because many times people in the supply chain are not aware of how many books are how many books are actually consumed. And even if you sold a book, it's very difficult to know, has actually anybody consumed that book, how many pages they have read. So you could even think of issuing a token on a page level. So that's something which I wanted to share as an idea, wherein can you involve your ecosystem in producing content and also in terms of funding your content, right? That's one. Second is slightly to the point of what Senthil was also saying is multi-purposing, wherein for a B2C book or content, can you, let's say, for example, there is a book I want to consume. I have a certain baseline in terms of, let's say, my literacy, let's say, my understanding of a certain style and tone of writing. The author writes from his or her perspective, right? But a lot is lost in translation, not necessarily in terms of transliteration, but also in terms of the style of the author. So there is an opportunity in which you can create a central content or central book, but then each consumer can consume that book in a way, style, tone they want or they are comfortable with. So that way you cater to a larger audience. Think of it like a complicated book, let's say, this trilogy of Shiva or whatever, right? I mean, even a kid could consume. So you increase your target audience, because right now you focus on a certain category of books for a certain demographics. But if you have this kind of a layering, you could have a mass audience for any kind of book as a source. On B2B side, if I talk about, I think AI should not be looked at it from a piecemeal perspective. Like, okay, I'll use an AI tool for this, I'll use an AI tool for editing, something for content. But I think there's an opportunity for publishers to use AI as an underlying stack in whatever you're using. So right from what a typical publisher would do, if we think from a process perspective, right? I need to first know a theme. I need to find an author, or I might have my own in-house team. You have AI tools available in which you can not only understand and identify these themes, but you can also do competitive benchmarking. Because otherwise what you would do, get samples, somebody will read it, understand it. You need to do price benchmarking. How should I price my books? You need to do forecasting. Now you have a lot of free tools available which will do all these three for you. Competitive benchmarking, understand what your competition is selling, consume their content, summarize it, and you can also get sentiment analysis done from that. Like what's selling at what price point and what are the forecast levels. And that way you can also involve author in this process. Because many times, I was reading a paper last week where people are creating model like a royalty predictor. So you can get authors and also do royalty prediction for them, which solves a big problem of transparency between authors and book publishers. Another big challenge, especially in B2B, is you need to do a lot of these workshops with school teachers, which involves a lot of logistics. You also need to create content for your sales team. Otherwise, what will happen, you launch a news, like I did it, right, for AI. The sales guy would go, give the book, and would be a sitting duck in that meeting. And whenever a cross question is asked, he or she does not know how to handle it. So with AI tools, and bunch of them are available, whether you use open source Llama 3 or Claude Sonnet or OpenAI plugins, you can create from your source book or even at a manuscript level, create multiple iterations in multiple languages, probably using his software. And then you can create a sales script as well. And some of the documents which he mentioned, right? You could have a chatbot. So let's say you got a salesperson going and he or she has an assistant in his or her pocket in which he simply asks the question, or he simply puts on the speaker and the teacher or HOD can ask a certain question about this book. But how is this different? Or how can I get some more, assignments or mock questions here? And the sales person is more empowered to handle that conversation versus saying that, okay, I'll get back to you, I'll check with my team, right? A lot of training material you could create in multiple languages, multiple formats with a breeze of a sort of button. And the other thing you could also do is you can train your entire, I think you mentioned about it, Ajay, wherein you can also train your entire repository of books. And I think NCRT did a similar project called Ask Tara, wherein you could simply have, one of the biggest problems I feel in B2B market right now is our engagement as publishers with the end consumer is very limited. Our access is limited till teachers, HODs and principals. But the end consumer, how he or she is interacting with our content, that feedback is a big gray area. And I think that's where I'm seeing a lot of AI tools coming in, wherein you could capture it. Right now we are limited to a QR code and taking them to a separate platform. But making that more mature, I feel is a big opportunity in the B2B space. And there are like bunch of tools I can keep talking about. No, but let's take it forward.
Thank you so much, Karthik. One very interesting question that is coming to my mind, and I don't know how it's to all three of you. I have a small niece, right, and she only talks to me about either Barbie, or she would talk to me about Coco Melon. I don't know, from a publishing perspective, that's also, it's online content, online digital publishing. But I was thinking, how I grew up, and fortunately my father introduced me to Amar Chitrakatha, and he introduced me to Panchatantra. And I think that is pretty much, nowadays it's lost in translation. I don't know how much of it is selling. But do you think we can actually now use AI and generative AI to make this a more immersive experience for our, the children who are growing up? Can we boost sales there, from a revenue perspective? Because I think that, my professor used to say that children are the best clientele that you can have, because they will always cry and their parents have to buy. So from that perspective, can we make these narratives more interesting, like a Mahabharata or a Ramayana or a Panchatantra, through the use of AI or Gen AI tools, is something that, I would like to hear about. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? It's an open question to all of you. Any one of you would like to take that?
It's a very nice question. There is a possibility that one more wall may also go away, the wall between the writer and the reader. It's possible that in future, either in a mobile app format or in the AR format or in any other format doesn't matter, our kids may work with the characters of classics. It's possible. Let's say some AI company is working on creating some images for the animals in Panchatantra stories. So our kids can read the story in any manner they want, just reading or listening or whatever. They can also interact with the characters. They can talk to them. I did a very,
But I'll add one point. So the whole process of reading, so we are all publishers, no? See, we want to encourage reading through paperback books. Anyhow, like there are immersive views through virtual reality or augmented reality. Even we have also created one view for the ISKCON temple, where you can listen to Gita in virtual reality. You can wear the VR headsets. So for the publishing sector, I think like we should be more focused how can we encourage reading. But anyhow, like these immersive views with characters interacting with you in real life with AR machines or AR, like through AR phones, you can see the characters. There are different cartoons and all. You can see the characters. Children can interact with them. That's there. But I would suggest, if we really want to generate some kind of revenue, or if we want that this whole publishing industry of the paperback book, of the whole reading, it survives or it's been alive, first we need to make these publishers profitable. And how can they be profitable? They need to work with AI tools to make the process more simpler and more faster. Whatever Karthik said, I'll just simplify it. So there are 5 or 6 steps in publishing. The first process, part is of the whole process is the evaluation process. When you receive the manuscript, either you receive it from the author or from your own content team. There can be AI tools that can evaluate your manuscript in terms of the language, in terms of the grammatical mistakes, or maybe the punctuations, or maybe the formatting level. So first, evaluation process can be very fast. And you can get the output depending upon the evaluation process, whether you want to publish this book or you don't want to publish this book. The next step would be the editing part. I've written my own book. I didn't hire any editor for that. So I did the complete editing through multiple AI tools. Grammarly is there. Even I did that through ChatGPT. So the second step is editing. Editing can be done through AI tools, and it's very fast. Like within a week or 2 weeks, you can get the completely edited file, and I can assure you in my manuscript you won't be able to find even a single mistake of a space, because I've edited it twice, thrice through AI tools. Third step is the formatting part. There are multiple tools. Once you're finalized with the editing, then you can do the formatting of that edited file. Once you do the formatting, there are AI tools, like depending upon the fiction, depending upon it's a mathematical book. There might be, for subject books, there might be some human intervention as of now, because AI models are not that trained as of now. But for general publishers, if it's a fiction, non-fiction book, you can get the best output, which is not possible with the humans. Third step is done, editing, formatting is done. Now the cover page design. For the cover page design, you need to have the cover page image. For the image, there are multiple tools. You just give the prompt to generative AI. They would be able to design an image for you. Then you can get the human intervention and get the cover page design that works for that market. So let's say like for educational market, the content would work. What type of exams it's covering, how many questions are there, what kind of content is there. For fiction books, there would be more focus on the image of the book or the font style of the book. So now formatting, editing, cover page design is done. Now the production line is there. Now if we feed data with AI, for let's say like the next exam is coming for the CTET or maybe for the UPSC exam. If we feed AI with some data, then production line would be AI model would be able to suggest you that whether you should go for 5,000 books or 10,000 books or just for the 500 books, just to check the market depending upon the date of the exam. If you're into educational content, if you're into fictional content, then AI model can suggest you whether you go for 200 books or 500 books. Now the production line is done. Nowadays, the first step of the book selling is not content, it's all about marketing. The multiple tools where you can generate marketing content through AI models, that could be SEO enabled or for the social media. You design videos. I use InVideo just to get the video. Within a few minutes, I get a complete 1 or 10 minutes video. I just need to give the prompt. They also suggest me whether like what type of content should be there, what should be the prompts in the video. So I use InVideo. There is a subscription of I think 3,000-4,000, and you would be able to get 8 to 10 videos in a month. So the video part is on content posts you can design, social media boosts can be done through SEO. Amazon and Google are already enabled with AI models that can target the targeted audience. So marketing is done. Now the whole process of the publishing is done. Now it's just your sales team that they have to go to the bookstores and sell the book. But if we adopt all these things, if we are able to save the time in the whole publishing process, then it would make our publishers more profitable. So this is the point I wanted to make, like just for the paperback market. Now if we go for the immersive view, definitely like rather going for the complete book in immersive view, the way we are doing in audiobooks or ebooks, we should get the synopsis in immersive view, so that, and I would suggest publisher, don't sell the complete book for the immersive view, just sell the synopsis to these immersive companies who are working in virtual reality or augmented reality, so that we can encourage the reading of the book, but the characters and the marketing of the book can be done in the immersive view. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Karthik, if you have something to add, but just a quick question, Ajay, there basically, what is coming to my mind in terms of, and I think that the crucial word here has always been in the publishing space has been royalties. And, I mean, Karthik started off by the piece on royalties. But, my view on this is, my personal view, every step of the way, irrespective of whether it is a immersive book that we create at the end of the day, eventually the royalty is going to flow from the paperback, because at the end of the day, data is going to be stored somewhere, right? And it can be stored as, in paperback, because, I mean, let's face it, all the Mahabharats, the Ramayanas that we have, they're all paperback, right? We don't have, I mean, they do talk about very advanced technology, but it's all on paperback. So at the end of the day, even if we have to create, let's say, immersive experience out of it, and Karthik, probably you can let us know your thoughts on it, because, you're entrenched into AI and, you're also an author. Is it that, paperback, we should focus on paperback as Ajay is suggesting, or do you think that there is going to be a shift, is a question, that I would like to ask you.
See, in 2010, there's a famous interview you guys can check on internet, where they talked about that what will happen by 2025. And the predictions made by Who's Who was that 80 to 85% would be all digital content and 10% would be paper. But if you look at last 15 years, contribution of paper books globally has increased. So people definitely like to read more paper books, definitely. To your point, I want to quickly clarify that the trail of revenues and hence the author royalty would flow only from paper books. Maybe, maybe not. Because let's say if you are hosting your content on a platform like YouTube, therein, as a publisher, I might host content there which interacts with the book, but then you get ad revenue also from those channels, which may not always flow back to the author. I don't know how many of you, do you know which is the most watched video on YouTube? It's Baby Shark. So, in fact, the top 10, I was doing this research last month, top 10 videos if you see on YouTube, most watched, 7 out of them are all kids' rhymes. Because kids typically play it on loop. And sometimes they're not even, I also have a 18-month-old son, they don't even watch it actively, but it's constantly on the loop. So I think there's a lot of revenue on the digital side if you pay it right. And to your earlier question, I feel the opportunity is to create content in which people can interact with, let's say, digital twins of those characters. And I'm seeing this happening a lot in Middle East now. Back in the day, even 5 years back, there wasn't a lot of Arabic content available for kids. But now if you have time, you see KSA led that revolution and now UAE as well. You get a lot of content in which the characters are also mapped to the local demographics. And even the style, tone. So they've created their version in Middle East of all these rhymes, Coco Melon you talked about. And I think it's also an opportune time for us to create that version in India. And in India, you could even do it on a regional level or a state level and have, let's say, in our books, those characters, and then you could create their digital twin with tools like, he mentioned in video, similarly, there are tools like Synthesia or HeyGen, in which you could have a conversation with those characters. In fact, you could even have conversation, let's say, with an author. So I could have my digital persona or twin as a QR code in the book that if you have any questions, ask me directly. And I can be available 24/7 for readers. If it's school books, teachers, they can ask me lesson plan for a particular chapter and I could give them real time, both text and video. So that sort of breaks the barrier between author and the, end consumer. So to your point, I feel that is the tipping point, but paper books would always sort of stay because...
No, honestly, I asked that question just to hear the thoughts on it. But personally speaking, I also like my yellow books and I like the smell of books. So, I mean, I'm a avid reader, so I would also like to pick up the book because somebody asked me once that, why don't you keep your books on Kindle? And I just told them that I just like the way paper feels on my fingers for some odd reason. So somewhere, yes, I do agree. I just wanted to know what the thoughts
There is
are.
a reason why Kindle sales globally have decreased over the years, if you analyzed. There was a big hype, but now you ask people, they all, even in the West, they all have Kindles, but it's not actively being used. And Amazon doesn't highlight this very well, but Kindle sales have actually saturated now.
Which is great. So the idea was really to, ask these questions is to actually give the audience a flavor that whilst, we should be adopting AI, it is a natural corollary that we should be adopting AI, but at the same time, they should not be afraid of the fact that the paper books are going to go away because, clearly, I think all three of you also agree on that, paper books are pretty much here to stay. But I would also like to open the floor to the audience. If somebody has any, they would like to ask a question to the panelists on what is the right kind of tools probably that, you should, they did touch upon a lot of tools. But, as an immediate, what are the top three kind of tools that one should definitely explore? I wouldn't even say adopt, right? Adoption is I'll come to you. Adoption is a very, it takes a lot of time. But exploring is something, that you just go there and you want to explore these kind of tools. So yeah, that is what I think. There is a question from the audience. So I'll just, if somebody can pass the mic down.
Quick trivia question. Does anybody know how many AI tools are there right now? Like active AI tools? Anybody? Any guess? 68,000.
And that's why probably in the 68,000, we would like you guys to recommend the top three at least that, we don't want the audience to go around Googling only AI now and, there is a paradigm shift. But yeah, sorry, I think you have the mic now.
Yeah, thank you. So I work in scientific research publishing, primarily for medical research and allied health sciences. So I would like to know what are some of the AI tools for, let's say, which could complement, let's say, the peer review process or help us create better research. In fact, even I think you were mentioning about training materials. So even coach some of the authors on how to write a good quality paper or how to, make the research very, very compelling to improve its citability.
There's a tool which, and I'm in no way associated with them as a disclaimer, it's called unriddle.ai. Unriddle.ai. Highly recommended. My personal view. I have used it and it's very good for research.
And in ChatGPT, there is one feature where you can design your own model. So if you just go to the menu section, there like you can give some prompts, 1 or 2, 3 prompts, then that if you design that model there in ChatGPT, then the ChatGPT model would give you output as per the instructions you have provided already. So these tools I think would be able to help. And second, I was mentioning one tool, Blink, I use for video editing and all. So with Blink, like you can get A-graded like videos for marketing and all. So you just use Blink for that, for marketing purpose. But you also try the ChatGPT own training AI model. You would be able to get the good output, I think.
Basically, beyond tools, couple of things needs to be understood. If you have the academic text or huge text, in order to brainstorm with the text and also to take some output out of it to check and everything, how do you prompt the systems is the most important thing. Sometimes the tools are more or less same. So the way OpenAI, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude works a little bit different. So mostly you have to concentrate on how to deal with the tools. Second, I was talking about the concept of chat books. I request each one of you to visit our website, ilsr.com, and upload your content, try it out. That works well for the academic text, for all non-fiction, particularly for the academic text.
And there is one more hack, nobody knows that. So you mentioned there are 68,000 AI tools, no? But anyhow, at the back end, they are using just these 50 or 80 AI models, maybe OpenAI model or Llama model. So anyhow, everybody is training these models to get the better output. So there might be multiple AI models or trained. They are just training these AI models. And I see AI as a data only. Like if you have a good kind of data, and if you can train the model, then you would be able to get the best output. Just consider it as is the data. It's all your research. If you have that kind of data, then you can use any AI model to train it.
Right, there's another one.
Hi. Thanks for asking that question. Actually, I'm from Journal Press India, so I'm into research publication only, and we are publishing a few journals in specifically in management, international business, or finance, or engineering, medical, etc. So, as she has just asked about the peer review process, or Ajay has just given the whole process, like starting from the receipt of the manuscript, its initial review, and then goes into next level, then it, if possible, might be peer review process, then finalization. So there are various stages in peer review process as well, till the publication. So are there readily available AI tools from, I'm talking from research publishing perspective, not the book publication right now, or we have to, create or produce that kind of AI tool at our own. So that is my question to you. If you can please help us to, robust our research publication industry as well.
I think there is a development from Elsevier, I think so. Scopus AI is such technology tool from AI mainly for the research purpose, that I think it includes peer review as well.
But just a pinch of salt. I'm sorry, I am a lawyer out here, so I must say this. If you're doing it for a research purpose, right, you should be wary of the fact that all AI tools have a couple of risks that are associated. There is a very fantastic and very interesting panel towards the end today. I think they'll be covering this, so I won't really get much into it. But the only 2 cents that I want to add there is that, you should, whilst using AI, you should be wary of the fact that, and as was also pointed out by the panelists, what sort of copyright is being picked up. Because specifically in research, you really want the citations to come through, and you want to attribute the authors who are the rightful authors of something that is being given as an output by an AI. So I'm sure there is a lot of talk on that on the last session, but yeah, just I wanted to add 2 cents there. Thank you so much. I think I hope that we've been able to ignite at least that spark, that each of us can go back today and only look up Sam Altman and not look up his litigations, but look up his contributions to AI. I think that, also from the last panel, I think Sahil, excellent point he said was that now is the time when we start, it's not that we see AI as replacing us, but it is the time when we start to see contributions come their way, and we should look towards the future in that stead. So I'll sign off with that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I would like to thank all our panelists, our moderator, for their invaluable contribution to this session. The AI is for publishers is definitely revolutionizing the industry by providing powerful AI tools, especially when it comes to understand the reader preferences, understanding the market trends, and optimizing the content strategies for maximum input. And with that, I would once again thank our moderator. I would be inviting on stage Mr. Avinash Agarwal and Mr. Sahil Gupta to please felicitate our moderator. Our moderator for this session, Mr. Rachit Srivastav. Can we have a great round of applause, please? Our speaker, Mr. Karthik Sharma. Mr. Ajay Sethia. Mr. Senthil Nathan. I hope all of us have taken the key takeaways and helped revolutionizing this entire arena. Thank you so much.